And we are live. Okay, so y'all know the first thing we have to do is make sure we have our disclaimers up. So let me go ahead and work on that while you guys come in. Go ahead and make sure we have our disclaimers up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and screen share the disclaimers. We got to go ahead and get our disclaimers up before we start. Y'all know we don't want any issues. Okay, so here's our copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit educational and personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so we got that copyright out the way, and we have to do just one more real quick. And this kind of pretty much covers the videos and the pictures and everything that we will be sharing. So I have to put up our content disclosure. And I'm doing that right now. And hello, everybody who's tuning in. Please come on in and join us. Okay, here's our content disclosure. Okay, content disclosure. The views and opinions expressed in the media or comments on this channel are those of the speakers and authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcaster. That's all I need to say when it comes to the content disclaimer, but we have that out the way. And like I said, that protects us from the content that we will be using today. Thank you all for joining us. Okay. All right, you guys. Welcome. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Trudy. Hey, Beverly. MBK. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land and everybody out there on Facebook. Y'all know we are multi-streaming from YouTube as well as Facebook. So, hey, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us today. Today we plan on doing like a part 2 of our discussion from last week, but just kind of going into different topics of interest, but basically pertaining to what's been going on around the world today, what we've been seeing, and some new things that we hadn't discussed last week. And we definitely going to have you guys involved. We're going to ask you guys opinions. So if y'all can be as active as possible in the chat room, we will be looking in the chat room. We will be asking questions and answering you guys. Okay, so today we were supposed to have John Q on as a special guest. At the last minute, he had to reschedule. So we hate that John Q couldn't be on today, but we will have him on later on sometime in the show. Not this show, but later we'll have him back on later on. But today we're going to have Joshua Griffin come on. He's going to come on a little bit later. If you guys don't remember who Joshua Griffin is an activist in Indianapolis, and he's the one that we had on when we was discussing the Deshaun Reed case. So he'll be back on later today to kind of give us an update on Deshaun Reed case and kind of chime in with these other topics that we're going to talk about. So I'm happy to have Joshua Griffin on later on today. Like I said, it was last minute to get him on, so I'm thankful that he was able to come on and give us some updates. All right, so big up to Joshua. And Joshua, we are waiting for you to come on. Just message us and let us know when y'all ready. If we shall have any problems with audios or anything like that, just let us know. Drop me a 2 in the chat room. I'll be looking in the chat room. So just drop me a 2 and let me know, hey, you staticking or you got some technical difficulties going on, and I would definitely try to adjust my mic and fix it. As I said before, we are working on looking into and testing out different apps or different ways of streaming to make sure that we have a great connection. So it's going to take some time to actually get it all together. Y'all know we're a fairly new platform. So just bear with us and continue holding on and rocking with us, and it'll get greater later. Okay, so before we start the show, we're going to go ahead and do like some update announcements. And I decided to insert this in the show at the beginning of the show, just in case there have been any updates or anything on some past cases that we discussed. That way we'll be able to stay updated on these past cases or events. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick announcement when it comes to some past cases and things that we have discussed. And like I said, the reason why I feel like it's necessary to do that, and that way we can just stay informed. Okay, we can definitely stay informed as to what's been going on. All righty. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and I want to update you all on, in case you all did not know, I'm going to go ahead and screen share this with y'all real quick. And this is just before we dive into our topic. Before we dive into our topic of discussion, this is some things that I want to kind of update everybody on. We want to make sure that we are updated on everything that's going on. Okay, so I found this inside of a group, and if you guys have to, make sure you screen share, or not screen share, but screenshot this particular group, this particular poster, because it has phone numbers and anything like that if you guys want to get involved with helping fight for justice for Breonna Taylor. Okay, but so as of June 5th, which was last Friday, Breonna Taylor had a birthday. She would have been 27 years old. So we wanted to give y'all an update on that. As of right now, her case is being reopened and looked into thoroughly. And so we just want to let our hearts and prayers go out to Breonna Taylor and let Breonna Taylor know that we're still fighting for you. And we definitely checking for updates, and we will definitely keep your name alive. So justice for Breonna Taylor. If you guys can, hashtag in the chat room, justice for Breonna Taylor. Okay, so that's one of our updates. Also, we want you guys to know about June 9th, which was just yesterday. So June 9th, if you guys can remember, Miss Loving Precious. I fell in love with this baby when I first seen her. When I first seen her pictures, I fell in love with this baby. And if you guys can remember, I actually did her case and kind of broke down her case and gave you guys like a spiritual overview of what I've seen as far as her case. And my analysis on her case. But this is Miss Malia Davis. She was the 4-year-old that was found on the side of the road. Malia Davis, let me kind of give you a breakdown of Malia Davis' real case in case you don't miss it. In case you guys missed it, but I'm pretty sure you guys should know about Malia Davis. She was the 4-year-old that was found in Arkansas on May 31st, 2019, after she had been missing for a month. Okay, and as of right now, as far as the updates on Malia Davis' case, Darion Vince, which was her stepdad, is still in custody, and his arraignments have been rescheduled one after another. So there has been absolutely no movement. And her mom, which many believe Miss Brittany, should be charged or should be facing some type of consequences for her daughter's death. She has not been charged with anything as of right now. So there has not been any updates on the case of Malia Davis. However, on June 9th, which was yesterday, Houston, Texas honored this day as Malia Davis Day. So yesterday in Houston, Texas was Malia Davis Day. If you guys can remember, she was honored and given that day by Houston, Texas. So Miss Malia Davis, we love you. We definitely going to keep our watch out on your case, keep all updates, whatever that we know we find, we will bring it to you guys. We love you, sweet angel, rest in heaven with the Father. And so that's, as far as the updates that we have on her case right now. Also, yesterday, again, was June 9th, which was the day that George Floyd was laid to rest, also in Houston, Texas. Okay, so as far as the updated information on George Floyd's case, we know that all 4 officers were arrested. Okay, and there has been some new mug shots released of all 4 officers being taken into custody. The officer responsible for his death, from what we've gained, I think it was released either yesterday or today, was given a $1 million bond. Okay, and so the officer who's actually responsible, for the death of George Floyd, David Chauvin, he was given a $1 million bond. So a lot of people is not happy with that. I would love to know what you guys think about that. But from my understanding, the only way you will not be given a bond is if it was first-degree murder, and we all know he was charged with second-degree murder, so he was given a bond. There was also a photo that was floating around of his mugshot, and I actually had that photo too. I didn't think to pull it up, but I'll try to pull it up real quick so you guys can see it, because a lot of people is still wondering whether or not that's him, or are we being juked? And it wouldn't surprise me if we being juked, because you guys know me. Y'all should know me by now. I really do not, I believe, not even half of what the media show us. Okay, not even half of what they show or tell us. So this new mugshot was released because, remember, you guys, we wasn't feeling the first one. Everybody kept saying, okay, is this even him, or is it a younger version of him? What the hell is going on? So they decided to release a new mugshot of him. And so a lot of people were still wondering whether or not it's him. So I'm going to pull up this mugshot real quick, and I want you guys' take on it. I want you guys to tell me, what do you think? Do you think it's him or not? Just that simple. And why? So I'm looking for that photo real quick, and we're going to go ahead and pull that up so you guys can see this new mugshot. And it's a mugshot from a side view that I'm getting ready to show y'all. And the reason why I'm going to show y'all this is because, when you're looking at facial details, a lot of times you want to look at the side, the shape of the face, the nose, the different features and everything from the side view. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so y'all can look at that real quick and tell me what y'all think. Let me see. Okay. Oops. Okay, and let's discuss it. So, like I said, you guys, a lot of people have been on edge about this particular photo right here. A lot of people do not believe that's him. I would love to know y'all thoughts on it. This particular photo actually shows the shape of his head. It shows, a lot of people believe that the head is not the same shape. The nose is not the same, and in particular, the ears. And the ears is something that really got me. And I know some people might be saying, what's the point of you pointing that out, Malika? Like, that's just so ignorant to even point that out. And actually it's not. Because if this is not him, we are being duped once again by the media. And it's something that we definitely need to speak on. Okay, so I think that the ears is really, for me, and this is just my opinion, is a dead giveaway. It's definitely a dead giveaway. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before with the media lying to the people, to basically just give the people what they want them to believe. And so this whole thing is questionable to me. So I would like to know what y'all think in the chat room. And this is just kind of giving us an update of what's being said and what's being talked about and put out there by the media. But I don't know what y'all think, girls. I think it's questionable. I think those ears right there. I think those ears. And in case y'all can't see, let me blow it up a little bit more so y'all can check out them ears.
Well, I feel that just based on their hairline alone and his hair, you mean to tell me that this man has a receding hairline and was balding in the middle, and all of a sudden he experienced some kind of miracle growth. I mean, I want to know what he's using because, please, out of all the women that I know with balding edges and just experiencing hair loss, we need to have that formula as of right now. I mean, like, please share that with us ASAP. I mean, because this is just ridiculous. This picture to me is obviously not the same man.
Okay, you believe it's not the same man. What you think, Kanisha?
I honestly thought when I seen the mugshot with him with the orange jumpsuit on, I thought it was him. I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I think it's him, and then I don't think it's him. But like now that I'm looking at this picture, it's like that's not him because the chin, like the neck, the under chin, the double chin. The police officer don't have a double chin, but the man in the mugshot look like he got a turkey neck. And then the curve, like I don't know, it's something about his ears, that's throwing me off because I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be racist, but some white people do grow hair faster than black people. So I don't know. But
So for you, it was the ears.
it's the ears, like the ears with the orange jumpsuit on look little. It look like they
Yeah.
got more meat in them. They got more meat in them or something. But then when he in a uniform, the police uniform, it just like a regular ear. So he kind of got like a Count Dracula nose going on with the orange on. I don't know. It just don't look the same now. But at first I was like, that's him. But it looked like his hairline kind of grew in a little bit. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we can say that it's very questionable. It's definitely questionable. And I can see why people are not satisfied. And here's the thing, the world is focused in on this case. The world was expecting these officers to be arrested. And so for me, if y'all wasn't trying to pull the wool over our eyes, y'all would actually showed us him being detained, which is what I said from the very beginning. But they secretly allegedly arrested him, and then they threw out the first mug shot where it looked like a younger version of him or just somebody totally different, and then they gave us this right here. And when I first seen him from the front, I said, oh, okay, well, there go his mug shot, that's him. But then when I saw this particular picture circulating on Facebook, I said, well, I'll be. And then y'all, the ears to me. It was the ears. It was the ears for me that really gave me away, because I said, there's no way that your ears can just ship shape unless you are a reptilian. Like, it's no way your ears can just change. You know what I'm saying? And those are two total different ears. Don't just look at
Maybe
it.
they put a fake like some makeup on him or something. Like he had hired somebody or something maybe to make his chin look fat or his ears. You know how they in movies they put like makeup on people to make them look different. Maybe that's what he did. I don't know.
I
The
don't
ears
know.
is not doing it for me. The ears, I can't with the ears right now. I don't know.
I definitely can't see the ears. Beverly laughing. Beverly, those ears. I'm sorry. Like, I thought that we really had the right person. When I first seen them for the front, I was like, okay, yes, they actually gave us a real mug shot. But you guys, I had to bring this up because y'all, this right here, those ears stood out to me. So if they faking a whole mug shot, if they faking this, then what else is they faking? What else is they lying about? You see what I'm saying? And on top of that,
Jennifer says maybe he had face surgery. He had something, because that's definitely not the same guy.
that is not the same
Yeah,
guy.
look at his nose. Look at his nose. That's what's getting me to his nose. Like, oh my God, I can't. I gotta see the nose because it's the nose and the ears for me. I'm not so much worried about the hairline, but it's the nose. Look at the nose the nose kind of look alike, y'all. It kind of do. I don't know. Maybe
One
he's getting
nose
some
looks
coke or
fatter than
something.
the other. Like, this nose right here looks fatter than this one. It looks
He
like it's
looked like
out
he was
more.
on drugs. He looked like he been taking some drugs in that orange jumpsuit picture because his eyes big as hell. Or maybe he just scared. I don't know. But his nostrils look a little inflamed. I don't know. I know a crackhead when I see one.
You know, I just think the whole thing,
Ah,
and I might
not
be,
the crackhead.
I might be
Kanisha,
bad
you
sad.
say you know a what?
I know a crackhead when I see one. You mean to tell me you don't smoke crack still? He look like he smoked crack.
Straight
He
up.
he looked demonic, even from the time that we saw the video and him just having his knee on George's neck. He just looked so demonic to me. He looked like there was no type of emotion in his eyes or anything. He clearly looks like something is wrong with him.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I also agree with what Linda said. A mugshot shouldn't be questionable. If any of us was taken into custody and they took a mugshot of us, it wouldn't be questionable. Now, unless you catch me without my weave and my lashes on, you might be like, is that Malika? But you would say it like a boy version of Malika or a younger version, but you could still be able to tell it's me. She just without her makeup, her lashes. I don't really wear makeup, but she just don't have no lipstick on. She just don't have her lashes on and her weave, but you can still tell it's her. A mugshot should not be completely questionable. Like, is that him? Or is y'all trying to fool us? They see, I'm starting to think they think black people are stupid. I'm really starting to think that. And it's sad, and I'm only giggling because y'all funny as hell, Bree Bree. Like, y'all is really funny because y'all really must think that we are that dumb that you could just throw us a bone and we gonna go after it without questioning it. And to me, that's just really crazy. So, when I seen that picture, I said, yeah, I wanted to get everybody's opinion on it. It's definitely something that we need to touch on, because if they lied to us about that, and this man right here, whoever this person might be, have $1 million bond, so he could have just went into custody, took his little picture, playing a part, and next thing you know, he's out on bond. He's out. He's free. And so that just makes me question everything. Like, stop playing us, America. Stop playing us. But anyway, on a good note,
I'm confused.
I'm very confused when it comes to that. But anyway, on a good note, people have been out still protesting, but the protests have been a little bit more peaceful lately. We have been seeing a lot of less rioting. We have been seeing a lot of less looting. I'm not saying it's not going on. However, it's been a lot peaceful lately. Donald Trump have called back the National Guard, so we don't see a lot of the National Guard's police in the community, which is something that we actually want, because if the police job is to protect and serve the community, then they need to build a relationship with the community. To call in outside police force or outside Marines or Army or National Guard, to me, it just disrupts things a little bit more. So recently, Donald Trump have called back the National Guards because things have been becoming a little bit more peaceful and people's voices have been heard more than it was before. And I think I contribute a lot of that to the fact that people are more aware. They became aware of those Antifa, or I can just say Antifa, quote unquote, of those plants that have been inside the protest, deliberately causing chaos and disruption. So I think people are more aware, and they're speaking up, and they stopping that. They said, look, we have an agenda, and we're not going to allow you to assert yourself inside of our protest to cause chaos. So big ups to those who's been paying attention, who's been aware, and not allowing those plants, whether they are Antifa members, whether they are white supremacists, whether they are, I don't know who the hell they are. But big ups to people for paying attention and being more alert and more aware and using a voice and not allowing those people who was literally, because that was my issue I had last week, y'all. I don't want nobody to take my words out of content, because I'm all for the movement. I back and I support my people. But as I said last week, it's not really what you do, it's how you do it. And so that's one thing that we wanted to talk about today. Like, is there any demands that's being put in place? Are we out there protesting just to protest, or just to make ourselves seen and heard? Or are we actually putting some demands out there? And are we saying that until you meet our demands, we're going to continue to come out here and scream and yell and let our voices be heard and chant until you see that our demands are heard? And we want to discuss what demands are put out there, because I think that's very important. That's very important because, back in the day when they were protesting back in the day, they always had demands in place, or it was a plan. It wasn't just, we're going to go ahead and get together and just, we're not going to use the bus, we're not going to ride the bus for a week or for 30 days. It wasn't, that was a plan, and the plan was to not keep giving this corporation or the government our money, our funds, and be treated like animals. And we can't sit down on a bus or sit where we want to sit on a bus. So one thing that we want to, mention, and we want to hear from y'all, is there demands that's being put in place from the protesters? And what demands do y'all feel that the protesters should ask of their leadership? Because if we just out here doing it and our voices is not being heard, then where are we going? Which is why I titled this, Where We Are Today and Where Are We Going? So I think that's something that's very important. So I'm going to ask you guys in the chat room, and I would love to hear back from you guys. What demands do you think that we as a people should ask of our leaders? What demands should we force upon them? And say, until these demands are met, we will continue to protest in the streets. We will continue to make our voice heard. And so that's something that's very important. It's really something to think about. It's really something to think about. Okay, so one of the things that, and what policies and laws should be changed, because we have to, like I said, when it comes to putting demands in place, we want to make sure that laws and policies are changed that's best suited for us as a people, for us as a community. And when I say us as a people, I mean Black lives. Okay, because we're letting them know that Black lives matter. So what policies and laws do we feel that need to be adjusted to make sure our lives matter? And that's one thing I'm asking you guys. I'm gonna kind of wait for a minute to see if anybody have any suggestions, and if anybody say anything in the chat. Chris said police reform. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with police reform. I'm 100% with you on that. Anybody else have any suggestions of any demands that need to be asked of our leadership to make sure that what happened to George Floyd never happened again? Okay, and so we did see that there was a policy that was implemented to where police officers cannot, y'all help me out a little bit, they cannot use forcible restraints, like as far as chokeholds and things like that. So that was definitely good. That was something that should have already been into place. So for them to actually pass that, I think that was amazing. So we can't actually.
I think I saw something somewhere where they was making it mandatory that all police officers have to wear body cams now. Like they have to. Like it's mandatory. I think in all states that every police officer had to wear a body cam.
Absolutely. Now I think that's definitely something that they should already had in place or go ahead and put in place. Now I'm so for that because, it was one incident. I want to say, who was that, you guys? Help me out. It was one incident. I want to say the Breonna Taylor incident where the police did not have body cams on. And it was kind of questionable. Like, why wasn't they wearing body cams? It might have been many more cases, but I remember one we was just speaking on recently. So I want to say it was probably Breonna Taylor where the police did not wear body cams. And I just couldn't understand that. But another, as far as the bigger picture, if y'all do not know, the people are asking for police defunding. okay, to abolish the police force completely. Now, and I'm just gonna say my opinion. I love to hear from everybody else out there, and we having adult discussions. Okay, so everybody don't get mad at Malika. You know, everybody don't think the same, but these are discussions that we need to have as a community, as a people. Okay, because this would affect everybody as a whole. Me myself personally, when it comes to police defunding, I can't say I'm 100% for that. And here's the reason why. And I'm going to ask ladies for y'all opinion. I'm going to ask for everybody else's opinion. But I'm just going to go ahead and share with y'all why I'm not completely for abolishing the police force totally, completely. Okay. I feel like it should be a police reformation. And I'm all for that. I'm all for police reform. And I have my own views as to what I feel like a police reform should be. Okay, so for one, I'm just gonna give y'all that real quick. In my opinion, I think that there should be some type of special not even special training, but I think these people should have maybe go to school, maybe go to college. I don't know, but it should be some type of special police training. Like anybody shouldn't just become a police officer, is basically what I'm trying to say. It should not be easy to become a police officer as it is today. You know, and I don't think that it should be easy for anybody to just become a police officer or an office, period. Because here it is, you have the community, the people, life in your hands, and you catering to the people. So I think it should definitely be, like I spoke on before, some mental evaluations going on. I think you should be mentally evaluated. Make sure that you're not suffering from any type of mental illness. And you not joining the force because you was bullied as a child and you feel superior with a badge. So I feel like it should be mental evaluations. I feel like it should be special police training. And I'm talking about at least 2 to 4 years. Okay. Like as if you was going to school to become a lawyer or whatever the hell. Okay. Anybody shouldn't just become a police officer. Also, when it comes to police reform, I believe, and y'all might not agree with me on this. Y'all might not agree with me on this, but I believe that the police should not be able to use deadly weapons. Okay. So like I said, I'm not all for abolishing the police force. I think that we actually need the police force. I believe that we need a police force because we still have criminals out there running rapid with unregistered guns. We still have sex offenders out there. And as I said on Facebook, who the hell we gonna call? Ghostbusters? So I feel like we do now. I'm not talking about these racist cops. Okay, I feel like if you have a police force or particular police department with several complaints, yeah, maybe they should be defunded. Maybe they should be carefully looked at by Internal Revenue. Maybe you should weed out the bad seeds, get rid of them. But completely abolishing the police force, me, myself, I'm not for that because we still have a society where we have criminals who's out there and running loose and they get fetishes off of little girls and kidnapping young girls and stuff like that. So I'm not completely for that. But like I said, if we adjust some of their policies, like I said, maybe not using deadly weapons, but maybe, toting a gun with rubber bullets, because I've never been hit with a rubber bullet. But from what I read before, a rubber bullet can actually stop a criminal in his tracks, and it kind of feel like a real bullet, but you can't take nobody's life. You can't take their life away from them. And I don't think that the police should have the authority to take somebody's life away from them. So in my opinion, maybe to not use deadly weapons, but maybe to use a taser, mace, a gun with rubber bullets, so you will be able to still fight crime. But I'm just not I'm not for the police having a use of deadly weapons and being able to take somebody's life. So like I said, I think that is, we can look at police reform and figure out ways to better shape the police and how they actually work on our streets, but I think as far as abolishing them completely, I think that y'all, that's just asking just a little bit too much. A little bit too much. So I would love to hear y'all opinion on it. Yes, they supposed to protect and serve, Chris. Exactly.
Okay, well, I can definitely agree with everything that you said. And first of all, I want to send a special shout out to my brother in the chat, Timothy. Thank you for joining us today. But I definitely agree with everything that you said, Malika. I also feel like, just to add one more thing to that, maybe they should have some type of karate training, maybe, and teach them some type of techniques where they can be allowed to take down somebody that is rebelling against them, and but not kill nobody. I definitely think that it should be other ways that they can apprehend somebody without actually pulling out their guns and killing them, because once that happens, you can't get that life back. So that's how I feel.
So are you for police defunding or just reforming the police force?
Reforming it, but we definitely need police out here to protect us. What am I supposed to do if that was to happen and they take policemen off the street totally? Then that would be somewhat like a purge going on. People would be running crazy around here. Things would be happening way more than what we see happening right now. So I don't think we need to take that away. It just needs to be worked out, and more things need to be put into place so that we won't experience the killings that we're having going on right now.
Okay. And it's kind of like living lawlessly. And that's why I said it's kind of like living lawlessly. And, if it's any Bible believers out there, in the Bible, it talks about the lawless one. It calls Satan the lawless one. And so to me, that's a satanic type of move. You know what I'm saying? Because we do need law. We need law and order, but we need law that better suits us for people as a humanity. We need law that says that we are all equal. We need equality, but we need law at the same time. So to kind of take away that, it shows me like we headed into lawlessness, and like somebody said, taking the law into our own hands. So what do you feel about it, Kanisha? Are you with the police defunding, or are you with just reforming the police? And I want you guys to also put in the chat room, just say reform or defund in the chat room.
I'm for reforming. I don't think it's a good idea to defund, any police department. I agree with everything that both of y'all said. We need the police. Not all cops are bad cops. There's good and there's bad, but we need the police. Especially when you live in cities where crime rate is extremely high. I just think they need to have more training as far as like de-escalating situations, like with George Floyd or Breonna Taylor or Drayshawn Reed. It just needs to be more trained and taught on how to de-escalate certain situations, as well as when you pull somebody over, you as a police officer, you should know how to handle that situation. But at the same time, us as regular people, we also need to know how to control our tempers, because the police is going to feed off of any type of energy that you're giving to them. So that creates a whole different other problem too. So, I mean, I just think, I'm going with reforming. I don't think that defunding is a good idea. It shouldn't get to that point. We don't need to defund any type of police department, period, ever.
Okay, so if y'all didn't know, in Minneapolis, the mayor was kind of cornered with the question about defunding the police department. Okay, so there was a protest in Minnesota and or Minneapolis. There was a protest, and the mayor attended the protest, or was he the governor? I think it was the mayor attended the protest, and he was confronted with the question of, is he for defunding the police department? So I'm going to play that video real quick. If the audio sucks on the video, which it shouldn't, which it really shouldn't, but if it does suck on the video actually have the caption and have the words, because I want you guys to see the mayor attending this event, how he was with the people, he was mixing with the people, he was letting the people know, I understand you, I'm with you. But then when he was questioned about defunding the police, I want you guys to see what happened after that. Okay. And I just felt like, first of all, he wasn't, you know how we sometimes say I wasn't ready for that. Y'all can clearly see that he was not ready for that. Okay. And so it's crazy because he was definitely cornered with this question. So let me play that for y'all real quick so you guys can see what happened. Okay, and as I said, if you guys can't see, you guys can read the commentary on the video. So let me go ahead and play it for you.
Hold on, Malika, pause that. Now listen, y'all talking about the cop don't look like him. That man don't look like that man either. I'm sorry.
You know, when you said pause that, I was literally just secretly laughing at how he was doing a, what is it called, a Cupid shuffle.
When he walked through that crowd, I'm like, that do not look like that man.
I said to myself, he was getting it. Like my grandma used to say, he was getting it. So you said he don't actually look like the mayor of Minneapolis?
No, because when they just show him talking at the press conference, look at his hair, and then when he walked through that crowd, his hair looked like he had just cut it. I don't know. He don't look like that man either. So I guess that's a Minneapolis thing where people just don't look like who they are.
He was actually looking like that pastor that come on TV all the time, Joel Osteen. He was looking like him when he was up there speaking in the suit.
I'm surprised they didn't rush him when he walked through that crowd. He was looking all sad. He looked like he wanted to stop and just shake somebody's hand, but they was like, keep it moving, because he just didn't look like that man. When I'm looking, I'm like, dang. Well, they talking about the cop don't look like the cop. He don't look like the man.
Well, we don't know because ain't no telling.
But y'all, please pay attention to this video, because the way they did this mayor was just so wrong. They didn't have to treat him like that.
Yeah,
so
they did him
go ahead
bogus.
And play it, Malika. Okay, so as you guys can see, he was asked the question, was he for ending police officers? And he said no, he could not, do that. And so she told him to quit wasting their time and get the F from around us. You're wasting our time. Get the F on. Go home. Go home. Why did you even come out here? Did y'all see? Did y'all peep how his body language changed when the crowd started telling him to get the F out of here, to go home? I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Do you think that they were right to tell him to leave? How do y'all feel?
What will we get out of completely abolishing the police force? What will we get out of that? I would love to. Anybody that's pro abolishing the police force, please drop it in the chat and let me know that you for it. And we're not here to dispute nobody's thoughts or opinions. We like to actually have these kind of conversations and hear from other parties. So if you believe in abolishing the police force, please tell me, where do we go from there? What do we get out of that? What do we get out? What about and before you answer, think about your 80-year-old helpless grandmother. Think about your children. Think about your children's children. Now, I'm not for racist police, but if we thought that was a lot to deal with, much to bear, imagine a society without a police force completely. And I would love to hear y'all answer. I would love to hear it. Because we've been seeing.
I don't blame them.
You don't blame who?
I don't blame them. They don't. The mayor. They don't tow up half of Minneapolis. Why would he want to get rid of police officer after what they did to the city? I don't blame them.
And then the thing about it is, y'all, he was actually interacting with the people. He went to the memorial of George Floyd, and I can't say whether or not he cried real tears. But what I can say is, I do believe that some people, because people are human, okay, they human, and so I do believe that this case have touched some people's soul, and I do believe some officers, when they say we not for that, we didn't agree with that, we wouldn't have done that. I do believe what they say. And so I'm just like, I don't know, like this man, what happened in his city, it could have affected him in some emotional way. And so he tried to insert himself with the people and let them know, like, I'm listening. I do feel like we need to do a police reform. I do understand that, we need to tighten up or loosen up, or I don't know how he was putting it, but he was agreeing that there is a problem and that we need to fix it as of yesterday. But Minneapolis, if anybody out there is in Minneapolis, those that was out there, if anybody out there that was in a crowd, I don't understand, when he actually said that I'm all for reforming, restructuring the police department. I do understand that there is a problem. I kind of feel at that point, that's when it should have been like an agreement being made on both parties that would be more sustainable for the people. I just don't understand how we go from not trying to come together and find a common ground, and just straight up go to no. We no. You either say you gonna defund the police department or get the F up out of here. Like, that was embarrassing. Like, I was embarrassed for the guy. Is it just me, or was anybody feeling his pain? Like, I was embarrassed for him.
Absolutely, Malika. I was embarrassed for him too. I really felt bad for him. I felt like that was very disrespectful how they treated him and how they put him on the spot like that. That's a topic that you cannot just come out and say if you're in position that, I'm going to get rid of this. Now, what kind of mayor would he be to say yes at that moment, knowing all the riots and looting and, just things in general that has been going on? And let's say, they probably have a high crime rate there. Things would definitely get out of order. So for them not to have any protection whatsoever, they already had burned down the police station and other buildings and stuff. What do you guys actually think would happen if they were to totally take the officers out of the equation? So that's something that he couldn't say yes to, even if he wanted to. And, his first response was his real response. And I respect him for doing that. And I just think that it wasn't thought all the way through. I understand everybody's emotions are running high because of the things that has happened. But, you just can't say literally F the police and take them out of the equation.
Okay, we have some really good comments that I'm going to read real quick. Linda Pointer said, I agree with reform and stricter hire policy. Background checks also. I definitely agree. I didn't mention background checks. But I don't agree with taking away their weapons, nor abolishing the police force, nor defunding. Okay. Beverly said, got a question. What if it's the other way around? Be a little bit more specific, Beverly, so we can chime in and speak on that. Police think that they're above the law. It's time for them to be held accountable for unnecessary force. I definitely agree with you on that. Okay, 45 said, hey, Cynthia says she's driving, but she's listening. I definitely agree. And, I don't want anybody to think that, and I can believe I can speak for the rest of the ladies, that we don't believe that the police should be held accountable for their actions. I think we all can agree to that they have done some unright, inhumane type of acts. And I think that they have forgotten that their job is to protect and serve the people. And I think that there's also people out in the streets that sometimes often forget that there's a law in place and we have to abide by this law. We can't go out there breaking the law. If we break the law, then we put ourselves at risk of having an encounter with one of those inhumane officers. If you guys get what I'm saying, we put ourselves at risk in that, so, and I also get what you said, Beverly, as far as people were really upset. People are angry, especially in Minneapolis. I don't take that away from them because that's where he was killed. That's where George Floyd's life left his body, right there in that place. And so I believe that, and not only him, I believe that they had a history of that in Minnesota. I might have said Indianapolis. I'm sorry, y'all. In Minnesota. So I definitely understand that. I definitely understand that tensions are flaring. People are upset. But at some point we need to be able to have somebody to be able to sit down and implement some demands and policies where we can kind of both meet in the middle. And it'll work for us as a people. But like I said, me, myself, personally, I'm not for completely defunding the police force because I just think that that'll just open the door for lawlessness and more crimes and nobody being held accountable or paying for the crimes we commit. Because I'm going to be real with y'all. Can I be real with y'all today? No, they might take my words out of content. Because I was going to say, if we don't have a police force, ain't no telling what hell I'll probably be involved in. I ain't going to rob no banks. That was a little jokey joke, but I had to think about, like, it might be somebody in the chat room that might be recording me like, Malika said she robbed the bank. And that even though I'm just joking though, but I'm just saying, like, we will see stuff like that. And people actually getting away with this stuff, and so we have to look at things from both sides of the fence. And it's just, to me, as a law-abiding citizen and a mother who's raising children in this world, I would just say I would rather just find a common ground versus just completely defunding them or abolishing them altogether. Like, I wipe my hands of that. I am not for that whatsoever. And like I said, I would love to hear somebody who think otherwise and tell us why you think the way you think. So let me read some more of these comments. Yes, you have officers who have totally abused their power. Yes. What if it was a black mayor with crime situations with a white victim? That's a good question, Beverly. That's a good question. If it was in reverse and it was a black mayor and you have, what are you saying? If you have white society of people that's saying we want to abolish the police force, and what with the black man, I think that no matter his color, I just really feel like that question, he was put on the spot. That's not something that he can answer right then and there. That's not a decision that he could make right then and there. And so I just think that it's, regardless of the color of his skin, I just think that the question as far as defunding the police, for that's not something that a mayor can just ask and be put on the spot right then and there. So that's just my opinion on it. I don't know what y'all think. The police officers, hold on, I gotta go back to your question, Chris. The police officers had multiple complaints for police brutality. Why was he still on the job? And that's a great question. He should have been fired. And I think that they should start evaluating a lot of these officers. And I think this is another thing as far as police reform and another demand that should be met. I think that they should look into the files of these police officers and look at their complaints. And I think if you have so many complaints, especially, of police brutality or abusing your privilege as an officer, I think that you should be immediately let go. I think that they should have a policy where, and this will kind of stricken them up a little bit and have them careful as to what they do. I think maybe they should have a policy where okay, one complaint you might can say was an accident. I'm not talking about killing. I'm just talking about maybe abusing your privilege. If you get a write-up or some type of complaint, I think that after that first one, the second one that you encounter should lead to a suspension. And I believe maybe the third one, and this is just like I said, something I'm just throwing out there real quick. The third one, termination. And I think that because I used to work for a company, Uber Eats, where they still do the Uber Eats, but I don't work for them no more. Where I used to drive and take food to people's houses out here or whatever. So a part of our policy for Uber Eats, I don't know if it's like that everywhere else, but here, and the one I was working for, you only had like a 3 strike and you out. Like the first time, if the customer complained about their food, okay, that's fine. The second time, if a person complained about their food or their delivery service or whatever the case may be, you get another strike against you where they'll start looking at you. The third one, you would be taken off the route. You won't get any alerts about the routes. And I think like maybe the 4th or 5th one, I don't think it should be like that with the police force, talking about like 4 or 5 complaints, but I'm just giving y'all an example. Like the 4th or 5th one, you was completely terminated from the company. So, and it's kind of like that was because you are an independent contractor, but at the same time, you can't abuse your privilege of being an independent contractor because you make this company look bad. And I think that that's how they should look at their police officers. Like, you can't abuse your privilege because you can make the whole department look bad. So I think that they should be, evaluated. And after so many complaints, suspension and then termination follows. And that's just, like I said, that's just my opinion. He was put on the spot. Even Joe Biden said he was not for defunding the police. Reformation is what's needed. Remember, the law is for the lawless. Exactly, Timothy, which is exactly what I said. The law is for the lawless. So, if anybody is for defunding and completely abolishing the police force, then I just think that you might be okay with living in a lawless society, and which it's not fair. It's not fair to a law-abiding citizen. It's not fair to us. Every police station know who on the force is not a good cop. I believe if we start holding the commanders in chief accountable and not just the cops on the scenes, it will make a difference also. I definitely can agree with you there, Linda. I definitely can agree with you there. We need to know the law and stand our ground. Oh, educating ourselves. Yes. We have to do things smart and not call the cops BS and say F them and not think they're going to get pissed off. It's not right, but it happens. Ask for a supervisor. Yes, I definitely agree. Angela, I know this was directed towards Cynthia, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it out loud. I'm a nurse and I get called all kinds of B's and N's and also get physically assaulted, and I still have to act like a professional and not lose my cool. That's absolutely correct. And this is the reason why they should be held accountable for when they do lose their cool. And they have to be reminded why you here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get placed inside of a society or a neighborhood where it's high crime, you have to already know what you're dealing with. If you can't deal with the job, then you need to go to desk work or ask to be placed in another neighborhood. Go to the suburbs or something. But you should already be mentally prepared to do your job and understand that if you placed inside to monitor a neighborhood with a lot of crime, then you should be mentally able to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? If you're not mentally able to deal with that, you have no business policing that neighborhood. Period.
But you got some cops that's just emotionally mean. Like, they don't care. Like, we had an incident here in Chicago where, I don't know if anybody heard of Laquan McDonald. He got killed, I think, in 2016, 15 or 16. He was 17 years old. And the cop, Jason Van Dyke, killed him in the street, in front of businesses and all this stuff. And I think he wasn't reported. It was said over the speaker or the intercom that tasers was on its way, And it was 2 cops who pursued him, but they didn't do anything to him. They stayed in their vehicle. You know, they let him just walk to wherever he was going. Supposedly he stabbed at their tires, he stabbed at their windshield, but they didn't react. You know, they was waiting on the taser to come. And here comes Jason Van Dyke. He pulls up. Laquan McDonald is walking away, you know, trying to get away from these cops. You know, he's scared. He's 17 years old. He's scared. He don't know what else to do. So Jason Van Dyke pulls up, immediately gets out of the police squad car and shoots him 16 times. 16 times. And he only got 6 years. He only got 6 years.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, it's just sad that, you know, we have cops out here that can't control their tempers. You know, I just don't understand it. Like, the cops in Chicago are horrible. They are horrible.
It's sad that our children have to be afraid of them. It's sad. It's sad because I was talking to my 9-year-old, and I try to keep my kids informed as much as possible because they at the age to where, you know, they just need to be informed. And I don't know what age do y'all think y'all should start talking to your children? Give us as mothers or fathers advice as to what age do you think you need to talk to your child about police interactions, especially if you have a Black son. And I have an African-American son, and he's 9 years old. So I felt like that was the right age to kind of talk to him and kind of prepare him for any encounters he may have later on with the police. But at the same time, I didn't want to raise him to fear them, you know. But so it's kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of hard to talk to your children about this, especially if you have a Black son, and not have them to fear the law. You know, but I'm trying to raise not upscale, but, you know, a good Christian little boy, you know, a law-abiding citizen, you know. So, but at the same time, I have to let him know you may encounter some of them cops like Kanisha is talking about. You may one day encounter these type of people, you know. And so I started with him at the age of 9. I just started really having these conversations with him. So some people might think that's too young, but I kind of think that, you know, why he's at the age to where he can actually understand the discussions that we have with him. I felt like, okay, this is the perfect time because we talk about George Floyd in the house. We talked about Ahmaud Arbery in the house. So I just kind of felt like, you know, he like, why, Mom? You know, he asked the questions like, why did the police shoot him? I thought the police was good, you know, because at that age, they think that all cops are supposed to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, at that age, they even see themselves being a cop one day. At that age, they kind of like, you know, what happened? Like, why did the police shoot him? What did he do? They automatically think that the person must have did something, you know, because they don't really understand. So I had to actually sit him down and have a real conversation with him, you know, as a Black boy that's going to one day become a Black man in this society. And what if things don't change, you know, by the time? What if we still dealing with these same issues by the time you turn 19, 18, 21? You see what I'm saying? So I had this conversation with them, and it was kind of like he got it, he understood, but at the same time, he was kind of like, you know, it was kind of like he was letting me know, well, if people are just, you know, supposed to do what they supposed to do, if cops just supposed to do their job, then why is it an issue? Why is it a problem? You know what I'm saying? And so here it goes. We talking about racially profiling people. And, you know, like Kanisha just said, you might have some cops who's just angry, who just don't like Black people, things like that. And it was really hard to discuss that with my 9-year-old son, but I felt like it needed to be done.
You know what, Malika? I remember being in school, and I remember being in kindergarten, and they had Officer Friendly come to the class and, you know, speak on, you know, that they're our friend and what they do and stuff. And at that age, you're like, what, 5, 6 years old? So I feel like there really isn't a specific age. It's up to whether, you know, your child can recognize and understand. You have to just tell them what it is. And even if they're at that age, you have to come down to their level. Say, for instance, they can look at Sesame Street and understand, the characters on Sesame Street. And you have, Big Bird maybe talking to the Grouch, and they're having scenarios and stuff like that. So you have to be able to communicate it to them in a way. Now, you wouldn't do that the same way for a child that's like mine, that's in their teens. You know what I'm saying? You would just sit them down and just let them know what the deal is. So I feel like, it's really not a specific age, but it's very important that we express to our kids that, look, you're going to have some officers out here that's not going to be that officer friendly type of cop that, they will want you to believe that they are. And you have to know how to conduct yourself in certain situations.
I totally agree. And then, my son have this vision of one day being a black president. And he look up to Obama, y'all. Like, I mean, 9 years old, and he's read books on not just Obama but all presidents. But he wanted a suit and tie, and he wanted a particular suit and tie. And he wanted me to find this tie. He brought me the picture of the tie and said, "Mommy, when you go shopping, can you give me this tie?" And so I said, okay, but why that tie? And he said, this is the tie that Barack Obama wear. Or he saw a picture with Barack Obama wearing this tie. So I said, okay, well, if I could find you a tie like that, I'll go out and I'll get you one. So, my son at 9 years old, y'all, I promise y'all, like, I'm not, this is on everything I love. He will come to the dinner table, like he can have on his outside clothes or whatever, but I will look up, he will come to the dinner table in his suit and tie. He likes wearing suit and tie. Y'all, it's the funniest thing to me, because I'm like, I used to get upset, like, why you keep changing your clothes? and so even for Halloween last year, he dressed as Abraham Lincoln. And so everybody thought it was so funny. Like, why did you? I said, no, that was, remember, I think I showed you the picture, Kanisha. I said, that's what he wanted to be for Halloween, Abraham Lincoln. But it was so cute because he had the long beard, whatever. But anyway, and so in his mind, I can become the next black president. In his mind, because he don't really know what society is like for a black man or a young black man. So I want to keep him, with that hope that you can one day become the next. But at the same time, I let him know that it's going to be a challenge for you. You're going to be tested in many different ways. You're going to have to keep your cool. You're going to have to, respect authority. You're going to have to, you might be challenged. You might be, you get what I'm saying, disrespected in a way or things like that. But it's really hard telling a child like that who have hopes of one day becoming so superior and look at the world around them as if it's just innocence and they waiting for his arrival. When we know it's not like that. So y'all, we have Joshua Griffin who just came on. And I want you guys to welcome Joshua Griffin. He's going to give us an update on Drayshawn Reed's case. But before I let you come on or speak, before I have Joshua to speak to us, we're going to play a quick video, okay? Lanice, Kanisha, was my sound pretty good the last video that we played? Because this one don't have caption. And I wanted to play this quick video before Joshua came on to speak.
Yeah, it was clear.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this video right here. And after this video, we're going to have Joshua Griffin bless us with his presence. So let me play this video real quick, you guys, because I want to go ahead and get some emotions going. So I think this video is perfect. So, for those that don't understand why we having these discussions, for those that just don't see the big picture, this video might help you out. Okay. All right, you guys. We got Joshua Griffin. Let me make sure my audio is good. Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, you guys, we have Joshua Griffin on. And welcome back, Joshua. We so happy to have you. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you the mic if you can give us an update on what's going on. And instead of us, because we did some kind of updates on some cases prior to you coming at the start of the show, but I said, you know what, I'm going to have Joshua to come on since we have a friendship with Joshua and let him kind of give us an update as to what's going on with Jayshawn Reed, where you guys at in the case, and provide us any details you'll like. So the mic is yours, baby.
All right, all right, all right. Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. My name is Joshua Griffin for all of those um, who don't know me. I came on a few weeks ago, shortly after the murder of Drajan Reed, which happened here in Indianapolis, Indiana on May 6, 2020. Drajan is like a cousin to me. So I'm very, very close with the Reed family. Blood doesn't make us no thicker. So that's family to me. So this is more than just me standing up for my life and for my family. I'm standing out here because I'm a Black gay male. I have my own community that hates me on top of I live in a world that hates me because of my sexuality and the color of my skin. So the fight that I am fighting is way heavier than what most of you guys will understand. The last time that I talked to you guys, I went live and you guys saw from my page or whatever, we had pastors come out to pray over the site. We had a lot of people coming to pay their condolences to us. Um, Literally, after I had a brief conversation with the team here, I then get a message to my phone that they have finally released the name of the two officers involved in Drayshawn Reed's shooting. Yes, y'all heard me. Two officers that was involved in the shooting. The names were just released 2 hours ago.
What? Today?
Today, directly after we hung up our phone call, I have, mind you, I'm gonna put it off into our chat, but time we hung the phone up, my family hit me with, they just released the names. After,
Wow.
after 34 days. Because mind y'all, this happened about 34 days ago.
Wow, that's
It's
crazy.
been a month.
It's been 34 days exactly. And they just released the names of the officers.
So it was
So
two of them.
I really didn't. Y'all know me. I have so much going on with this rally. I really did not pay attention to that because I will address all that when I sit down and have to do my thoughts about it. And I don't have my other phone with me right now to get to the message to give you guys the name. But if any of y'all are following my Facebook, trust and believe it's all over Facebook by now. I'm
Wow.
still
So
trying.
was it Black officers or white officers?
Both of them are Black.
Wow. Which I told you before, I said if it was proven that it was Black officers, this kind of changes the game a little.
Yeah, see, I'm out here for all police injustices. I never felt like this was a white police killing down Black officers because I know that there are Black officers who wears that badge who are Oreos because they're white on the inside, and they'll be quick to gun us down like we're deers too. That's why in Indianapolis, a lot of us yelling, it's not a race thing that we're out here for because it was a Black officer that shot and killed John, which makes me think it was either personal to the officer, it was an arranged hit by the police chiefs who actually initiated the police chase, or he was a rookie, which he's not a rookie because he's been on the service, he's been an officer since 2016. So, in the light of all of that, guys, I decided to do a peace rally for the community, which is coming up this Saturday. And it's taking place at the very same spot where they gunned down Drajan at. So from there, I'm going to shut down the streets since the city does not want to give me a permit. I'm shutting the streets down. And let me tell you what's funny, Malika. Remember, I was just telling you that the city did not want to give me a permit. They were telling me that I can't get the permit due to the COVID-19 and guidelines and restrictions. But our governor, the same governor that denied my invitation, just did a press conference and said, come Friday, June 12th, Indianapolis will be in stage 4 of reopening. Within stage 4, all public gatherings that was only allowing 50 people will now be moved up to 250 people. I mean, if you are increasing the number of people who can go into these establishments and into these rallies and shit, why is it so hard for me to get my permit? So I'm shutting the streets down.
Doing what you got to do, Joshua.
I told you I went about it. I've been having this girl since last. No, I go do my fingerprints tomorrow, but I'm in an interview right now. Did I just tell you that? I'm
Okay, you
sorry.
guys, this is the flyer for the peace rally. If you guys need to screenshot it so you guys can know when and where everything is on this flyer right here.
Lee, can you do me a favor because it's not letting me comment? Put my Griff Joshua Facebook page in the comments. Griff Joshua is the Facebook page that you guys can add me as a friend on to keep all updates. From there, you will see the official event page, which is the Celebration of Life Peace Rally, honoring and remembering Drejan Reed because Drejan's birthday is June 16th. So this is another reason why we're doing this. From there, all of my contact information is on there. My PayPal is on there. My phone number is on there. My Cash App for all donations or contributions towards the event that you guys would like to donate. Share the event. Share the posts that I made about the mayor and the governor not trying to come out because we want answers and we're going to get them, whether they give them to us or guess what? We'll be right back out at the mayor house like we was last Sunday, but this time we're going to have 300 cars instead of 162, and we're going to wake up his whole neighborhood again at 6 o'clock in the morning. If we don't get no justice, y'all don't get no sleep. Oh yeah, and Griff Joshua. Joshua is spelled Joshuia.
Oh, UIA. Okay, let me
Yeah,
fix
so you
that.
know it's Griff and then Joshua Joshuia. Because Facebook
Okay,
kept blocking
Griff
me. Shuia.
UIA.
And my profile picture for y'all, it will be the red event flyer. So you guys know that it's me. Just shoot me a friend request. I'm accepting everyone. Shoot me a message. Just give me time because I am the sole host and coordinator of this event. So I have a lot that I'm still dealing with and trying to make sure that goes on for Saturday. For anyone in any surrounding close states, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Tennessee, like Missouri, if you want to come out and support, it's free to the public. We have entertainment. We have a kids area where the kids can come have fun. It's going to be nothing but good food. I'm turning this into a family reunion. It's a celebration of life for everyone's life, my life, your life, everyone's life. So and we're going to get the answers that we want. So now that they've released the names, we want to know, are you going to defund the police? Are you going to make them get body cams and dash cams? Are you going to rewrite the police policy? Not even that. Can we get the coroner's report? Because we still haven't received that. For a lot of y'all who don't know, Drejan was shot 15 times. Within the 15 times of Drejan being shot, they shot his eyes out. And anyone who's seen pictures of Drejan, he has really cute green eyes. No, they literally shot
Shut
his
up.
they shot his eyes out of the socket of his head.
What the
Shut
hell?
up. We didn't know that.
Oh, Lika, y'all never went to Lanice. Y'all never went to my live. Remember when I told when I hit the group chat and said it was a press conference at 11:30. Make sure y'all add my Griff Joshua page because I'm going live. Yes, Mama Mitri told us in the middle of that press conference. Y'all need to watch it because that was an emotional press conference. She told us how she had to go see her son, what they did to him, and how she was able to identify him. They had shot him so many times in the face that the only way she was able to identify him was by his teeth.
Oh my
Out of
God.
here.
The live is on. The live is on. Like I told y'all, that is my family. I'm very close to them. They told us we had a press conference. I got off work and I was standing directly in front of her. We got you, Mama. I'm right here. Don't think you're in this alone.
We had no idea. And wow. Please give her our condolences. Please give her a hug from for us. That's horrible. I This is like so shocking to me, Joshua, because we talk to you behind the scenes and try to keep up on your Facebook page everything that's going on, but I had no idea they shot the baby's eyes out.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when we get finished with this, I'm just going to go post my live in our group chat so you guys can see. That was a very emotional live. Like, that was a very emotional day to stand there to hear those details. Like, come on now, we're going to get justice. You can't justify that type of murder. I'm sorry.
No, it was definitely an overkill, which is what we said on the last show, because that was a very controversy show. I mean, his case is altogether.
And
Um,
no, and it's only controversial, and I'm going to say this, it's only controversial because the people feel like he had a gun. Just like now, and I'm going to, and this is how y'all know. Hold on, y'all. Oh, that's all. Let me try to move my camera around. All right, here we go. So, can y'all see me? Y'all can see me? I know I look a little ratchet though.
yeah, I
So,
put you on full screen. I put you on full screen.
Yes, we
so
can
here.
definitely see you.
So as y'all see, I have a gun, right?
We might get
So if I
flagged.
was right, so if I was to leave from out my house right now and get in my car and the police see my gun, that you're automatically telling me they have a right to shoot me 15 times and kill me? No. So everyone feels like because he had a gun that he deserved to be shot. No. Okay. Let me break this down to you. The police officers, Chief Adams and Chief Randall, these are the police chiefs, not a regular deputy. These are police chiefs. They clocked out, got inside of an unmarked car, saw a person driving at high speeds on a highway, and began a pursuit when they were one, off duty, two, not even in a police car. The police chiefs did this. Roughly 10 minutes into the chase, the other chief called this off, canceled it. In pursuit, go home. So, therefore, this police chase that everybody said, oh, well, he took the police on a police chase, and can you be mad at that? What he did? No, that police chase was ended. So, for that officer to be sitting there waiting on him to get out of a car to re-pursue a pursuit that was already ended, that was not your place. So, I don't care what nobody has to say, because even if he did have a gun, he had a pink slip to carry that motherfucker, a license to carry. He did not shoot, despite whatever the fuck he did 3 years ago, shooting at abandoned buildings. Even if that man would have went and burnt down a motherfucking White House 10 years ago, that has nothing to do with the reasons why he was shot and killed on May 6th. He wasn't shooting at houses when they pulled him over or tried to pull him over. He wasn't waving a gun or shooting at officers then. He was merely on his way to pick his girlfriend up from work because he was driving her car.
And let me just say, we not debating whether or not he was his kill was justified, because we are totally against police brutality, period, and definitely against an overkill such as what happened to Drayshawn. The man was killed 15 times. And on top of that, he was already tased on the ground. So I don't think is no justifiable reason as to why he was shot 15 times and shot in the eyes, and like it's nothing to justify that whatsoever, which is the reason why we support you and his movement and his rally and everything. And just so you know, I did drop a link to you guys. I dropped a link to his Facebook page so you guys can follow his Facebook page and keep up with everything going on. And for those that want to donate to the rally, Joshua as well as some more activists have come together and they're doing a rally this Saturday. So I also dropped your PayPal and your Cash App information into the chat room. If anybody want to donate, we at the round table, we're definitely going to send a donation to you, Joshua, like I discussed, because we want to make sure that you guys get a token of our love and support. And we stand behind you 100%. We stand behind what you guys are doing 100%. But I'm going to ask you a question that's a little bit off topic, but it was something that we was discussing prior to you coming on. Being at all that you have experienced in Indianapolis, are you for police abolishment or reformation?
Okay, I'm for the police reformation. The reason I'm for reformation opposed to abolishment, please don't get me wrong, I don't feel like every officer that is a police officer is a bad officer. I actually have family members who work for IMPD that are secretly inside of the precincts working silently to help me as well. Everyone is not a bad officer, but I do feel like this reform should be, because honestly, we're gonna need the police. You just made a post that I agree wholeheartedly with. If we don't have no police and shit start to pop off, who the fuck is we gonna call? Ghostbusters? Like, let's be real. Let's be on.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That I thank you for saying that. That really needed to be said, because I just don't understand why people feel like we don't need officers.
Baby, the community can barely protect themselves from the community. That's why we have officers. So
and if we abolish the officers, all it's gonna do is bring more what do they call it, citizens arrest, more people that think they
mind you, another one of my focus points that I am pushing out this weekend at this Celebration of Life rally is life within the community. One thing I want the community to understand, until we, the community, can get inside of our own community and handle some of the discrepancies that we have amongst our own selves, the killings of our Black brothers killing other Black brothers, the killings of my Black community not supporting any Black gay people because that's the white stigmatism that was brainwashed off into them. Until we can get off into our community and rectify some of the smaller things, how can we expect a city to come help a community that doesn't show that they want to help themselves? The initiative has to start somewhere. So my peace rally is for peace along everyone: Black, white, orange, pink, purple, cats, dogs, lizards, chairs, buildings, cars, anybody, all life. And I'm just being honest, it's all life. I'm here to spread awareness because I want us to really work on this. Oh, I have to be in competition with my neighbor. Thou shalt never harbor over what thou neighbor has. You shouldn't. You should never be jealous of what the next person has, because what's meant for you is going to be for you. And what they have, even though you like it, that doesn't mean that it's for you. Just because you want it doesn't mean that God says it's your need. We're so blinded by wants. We're so blinded by what everyone is walking around saying that is real, and what is loyalty and what is love, to where we've actually forgotten our foundations and what our ancestors really sat here to teach us. Yes, they wanted us to fight for freedom. Yes, they fought for social equality for our kind, but the one lesson that everyone is starting to forget right now about Martin Luther King and the movement and our ancestors, unity is the first thing that they showed us that we were going to need.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Joshua, because that leads us to our would you rather question. I have a would you rather question. Joshua, I want you to give us your answer first. And I'm going to expect everybody to answer in the chat room. Okay, so here's our would you rather question for the day. If either of these leaders were alive today, who would you rather follow? Malcolm or Martin? I'm going to ask that question again, and I'm going to be looking in the chat room, and I'm going to ask everybody at the round table to give us the answer and why. If either of these leaders were alive today, who would you rather follow? Malcolm or Martin?
I can't answer that question, honestly. No, and I
Joshua,
no,
you
and
got to play the would you rather with
let,
us.
let me finish.
Okay.
I can't answer that question because I tell everybody right now in this current state, this is how I feel. I feel like I'm a little bit of Malcolm, I'm a little bit of Martin, but I'm finna wrap all of this inside of a Nelson Mandela and present it to the world.
I probably
So
should have added Nelson Mandela in there, but the question was Martin or Malcolm.
right, because everybody wanted to say Martin was peaceful, Malcolm was with the shits. Y'all know me, I'm with the shits and peaceful. That just depends on how you want to play this. So I'm a little bit of both, but I know what the world needs. We need someone who's going to stand up and be that person like Martin was. But we're also going to need someone to have that same determination that Malcolm had. That same mind frame. Okay, sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, but they're also going to have to present that in a gentle way, like Madiba, aka Nelson Mandela did. And that's where I'm at in today's world.
You made a really good point. I actually love your answer. I actually love it. Lanice, what would you say, Malcolm or Martin?
Are y'all really ready for what I have to say? Do you really want to know the answer to this from
Yeah,
my
you know
perspective?
what? I hated to even follow behind Joshua's answer, so I went on and skipped me and went to y'all.
Okay, well, for me, I was staying with both. You see, they tried to use the same tactics of the civil rights movements with this now generation of the millenniums whose mind frame is fuck the police. They rebels by nature with a I don't give a fuck attitude. They don't respect authority, which is a recipe for chaos. Now, invisible lines will always be crossed, and we have to have boundaries. You have to know when enough is enough. Peacefully, people got dogs put on them, hosed down, beaten, crosses burning on their lawns, lynched for onlooking black folks to enslave fear in them. However, this time around, we have allies and we have whites marching, Hispanics, and other nationalities coming together. We can never have a protest that will go all the way right, but we have to have the mindset to not take down until results are seen. Support for our own color, Black businesses being supported and owned by us, which is what Malcolm X was about, sticking together and building not just equality, but having ownership. And out of protesting these past weeks alone, look at what's happened in the 10 days of supportive peacefully protesting. In 10 days, Minneapolis banned use of chokeholds. In 10 days, charges was upgraded against Officer Chauvin, and the other 3 cops were arrested and charged. Dallas adopted a duty to intervene rule. New Jersey Attorney General said their state will update its use of force guidelines for the first time. In Maryland, a partisan work group of state lawmakers announced police reform groups. Los Angeles City Council introduced motions to reduce LAPD's operating budget by 1.8 billion. In Boston, MBTA agreed to stop usage of public buses to transport police officers to protest. Police brutality was captured on cameras, leading to immediate suspensions and firings of officers in cities like Buffalo and Fort Lauderdale. Monuments celebrating Confederates were removed in cities like I'm in Virginia right now, in Alabama. Streets in front of the White House was renamed Black Lives Matter, along with military forces withdrawing from DC. things globally also took place as well. Like, look at the memorials being held across Europe, Canada, New Zealand. There has been a shift and awakening that many of us are being exposed for who we really are. And don't wake up tomorrow on the wrong side of the issue. And it's not too late to say, maybe I need to look at this from a different perspective. Maybe I don't want to know what it's like to be Black in America. Maybe, just maybe, I've been taught wrong. So we definitely need to keep protesting, and we want to try to do it peacefully. But at the same time, we want respect for our people. And respect is not just given, but respect is earned. And it's not trying to start a race war, but to end it. All lives cannot matter until you include Black lives. You can't say all lives matter when you do nothing to stop systemic racism and police brutality. You cannot say all lives matter when Black people are dying and all you complain about is looting. You cannot say all lives matter when you allow children to be caged, veterans to go homeless, poor families to go hungry, losing their health insurance. Do all lives matter? Yes. But right now, only Black lives are being targeted, jailed, and killed in masses. So that's who we're focusing on. Black lives matter. And that's how I feel.
And you, my dear, said a mouthful. Kadisha, do you want to follow behind that?
I can't argue with that. I can't.
I think Lenise spoke for the whole platform. I'm actually gonna say she spoke for the panel. I'm gonna say she spoke for the panel. Her thoughts and everything that she presented to y'all just now, and what Joshua said. I totally have to agree with both of them. And I know it was kind of like for some it was a trick. Would you rather question? And I did have a response. I did have an answer, but actually listening to both of their response, yeah, I think she spoke for me. And I can say that she spoke for Kanisha as well. And so did Joshua. So we're going to pretty much piggyback off of what they both said. We would need both leaders. And they both played a hell of a part in history. And so to have a little bit of both. But one thing I will say is that we do need some leadership. We need some leadership. And I really don't see a lot of leadership out there, and which is kind of hard for us to maintain order and give demands and create a plan, because we really don't have that leadership like before. And so I definitely think that the people actually need real leadership. Like we had before. But I have to agree on both of what Joshua as well as Lenise said. Like, wow, they just took the cake. But in the chat room, we have some that say Martin, some that say Malcolm. We have people that said none. Linda Porter actually said for today, Malcolm. Chris actually said both men had good intentions for the Black community. Linda Porter said Malcolm put a fear in white people that no other leader has done to this day. Jennifer said, I say Malcolm because he went to Mecca and became peaceful. Here in Boston, they got rid of a lot of slavery master statues. And Timothy said, we need a little bit of both, Malcolm and Martin. So I have to agree with everybody. Oh, Cynthia said she changed her answer. I think your answer was Martin, so you went to Malcolm, or you saying both? Which one? And I have to agree with everybody. I would think that we need a little bit of both, but I definitely think that, I do believe that there will be a remnant of leaders rising under this generation right here. And, what they're seeing today, they're learning from us. They're learning from where we go wrong, from the right moves that we making. And so I do believe that, we have a remnant that will come and will stand in position, and we will see another shift, a great shift come. Like before, when, the shift that we saw when black men or women was not given the right to vote. And all of a sudden the shift came and we were, able to vote. We were given privilege, I guess you could say privilege, not rights, but privilege to vote. And so I definitely believe a shift will come. A shift is coming. So we ended up losing Joshua. Joshua had a lot going on, but Joshua, if you're still out there, we thank you for taking the time out your busy day. Being the fact that you putting together this rally is happening this Saturday. So if anybody is in the Indianapolis area, attend that rally, you guys. And if y'all attend that rally, go ahead and throw us some pictures, some videos. We'll keep everybody updated and we'll share those pictures and videos. But yeah, and if you guys are not and just want to follow up, his link is in the chat, so you guys can find him on Facebook. If you guys want to donate to the cause, we have the information also inside the chat room for you guys to donate to the cause. So Joshua, I don't know if you're coming back on or if you can hear this broadcast, but we thank you so much for taking time out your busy schedule to be here today, because you didn't have to do it, but you did. And like I said, that would you rather question was kind of a tricky question, but you guys broke it all the way down. You guys broke it all the way down. So before we go ahead and end this, we're going to end this with Lanice, and she's going to go ahead and give us a helpful tip like she give us. So for the last 10 minutes, before we get out of here, we're going to hear a helpful tip from Lanice that we can carry on, you guys.
Okay, so today for the tips, we're going to play a message that I found, and it's Dr. Wilson's message to every person of African descent in America. So you guys let me know that you guys can hear it.
Drop a 1 after she play the video. If y'all can hear it, make sure y'all drop a 1. You can go ahead. I just wanted to make sure they drop a 1 to let us know, or 2 if they can't hear it.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, so today's helpful tip is coming from Dr. Wilson, is his name?
All right, here we go.
The riots that have taken place all over the country, now all over the world, are inevitable. And contrary to the opinions of some, the riots are both effective and necessary. The problem is, it's not a sustainable path to what we want. But then what next? What are we supposed to do? That's what this message is about, what we're going to do. Young people, my college students, my high school students, you're ready to act. You're ready to fight. But no one's listening to you. They just keep telling you to go home. But I hear you, and we have a plan. In order to find the solution, we must first understand why this is happening. The reason that officers of the law and private citizens acting as if they're officers of the law continue to murder us is because we can offer no consequence. For example, the reason you don't see Jewish people being murdered by police is because the Jewish community can provide economic consequences. They own things collectively. They're well invested in the media and the law, and they've built a strong community by focusing on exclusive internal growth and wealth building. But when members of the Black community are murdered by white officers or vigilantes, we peacefully protest, focus on whatever election is upcoming, and ultimately, there are no convictions for the criminals. There's something that we missed about how the civil rights movement was effective. Protesting was just the beginning. It was to unify the people and bring attention to the issue. But the next step was always economic action, boycotting, investing in our communities. Then that economic action is what forced legislation. The reason our efforts continue to fail is because we first of all keep asking for change instead of forcing it. But secondly, because we keep skipping a critical step in the process. So what do we want? Well, in the short term, we demand justice. In the long term, we demand reform. But we must be specific if we are to hold our nation accountable. So we demand 3 things. 1, we We demand convictions and equitable and appropriate prison time for all officers involved in the murders of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and all parties involved in the lynching of Ahmaud Arbery. 2, we demand legislation that ensures independent review of public safety officers. And 3, we demand a modification to the standards by which officers can be prosecuted. I'm sure you've heard people say, if you want change, get to the polls. Now, I'm not suggesting voting is useless, but the reality is voting will not solve our problems. In fact, we cannot allow ourselves to become distracted by political affiliations. The only way to get the change we seek is to show strength both economically and physically. So first, let's address physical strength. It is both irrational and un-American for us to continue to be met with force and not respond in kind. This is why we need all able Black Americans to exercise their constitutional rights and legally acquire a firearm. Perhaps Ahmaud Arbery wouldn't be alive right now had he been able to defend himself against the thugs who lynched him. And under Georgia's standing ground laws, well, he would have been within his legal rights. To all my gangbangers, my Bloods, my Crips, GDs, folk, everybody, I'm asking you to help us protect our communities from the white supremacist groups who would harm us. You are already armed and you're not afraid to die. I hope that you see fit to call a truce and unite against the greater common enemy in order to protect our children, our mothers, our sisters, aunties, and grandmothers. Now we must address how we fight economically. America doesn't particularly care about Black life. If it did, we wouldn't still be facing what we're facing right now. What America does care about is Black dollars. So we have to start speaking America's language. Effective immediately, we will only buy food from Black-owned restaurants. This does not apply to grocery stores, as we don't feel there are enough Black-owned grocery stores nationwide at this point to accommodate the initiative. However, there are many grocery items you can find on sites like WeBuyBlack.com. Now, our Black-owned restaurant initiative means that you will need to avoid many of your favorite restaurants, but you will discover new Black-owned favorites. And you must ask yourself what's more important. Understand that this is only phase 1 of a larger plan. We will implement phase 2 in the weeks to come. But this is something that everyone can do. So what's the point? And why will this work? According to both Nielsen and the CDC, Black people eat more fast food than anyone. By diverting our billions of dollars, we will accomplish 2 things. 1, change is not free. Supporting only Black restaurants keeps our money in our communities, money we can ultimately leverage to create the changes we all want to see. And 2, it uses our money we're already spending anyway, to create powerful billionaire allies. These companies will do what is necessary to get our dollars back. And if that means helping us to meet our objectives, well, then that's what they'll do. There are a few important notes to make when concerning this plan. This is not a boycott. We are not punishing white businesses. We are simply consumers who are making a choice to exclusively support Black restaurants and the strategic interests of justice and reform. Please note that we are exclusively supporting Black-owned restaurants, not minority-owned. The terms Black and minority are not interchangeable. So, to my Chinese, Korean, Arabic, and Indian restaurant owners, we have nothing against you personally. But if we don't do this now, there will be none of us left to buy your products anyway. If a franchise location is owned by a Black person, eat at that location exclusively. We will not harm our own people. There are websites like eatblackowned.com that you can use to find Black-owned restaurants in your area. But I'm confident that once everyone learns of our initiative, they'll let you know how to find them. We will not support non-equitable services. We will support Black restaurants that offer the quality of service we deserve. And if we have a negative experience, we will not generalize and say, see, this is why I don't support Black businesses. We will simply express our concerns to the management, and if we so choose, we just won't go back to that particular restaurant, just as we will behave with a restaurant that isn't Black-owned. This is not a one-day event. Did you know that the famous Montgomery bus boycott lasted over a year? 381 days to be exact. It takes time and consistency to have impact, just as it took time and consistency to implement the racist constructs we are fighting. We will continue with our strategy until our demands are met. At times, this will not be easy. You will be tempted to stray. But please accept that there can be no change without sacrifice. A brief message to white Americans. We don't hate you. We don't hate America. We just need it to work for us in the same way it works for you. Please stop saying all lives matter. Saying all lives matter is like one house in a subdivision is on fire. Fire truck arrives, and you ask the fireman to douse your house with water, even though it's not on fire, because your house is important too. We've been asking for equality for hundreds of years now. Please process that. Understand, we're done asking. This word you see on my shirt is ukurula. It's Zulu. It means fight. Black people, I need us to know that we are bigger than slavery. Our existence didn't begin when we became useful to America. We have our own continent, our own African culture, our own independent history. We are better than begging to not be murdered. The time has come for us to fight, and now we know how. Now this plan cannot work if people don't know about it. So if you do nothing else, it's important that you share this post with a link to this post on all your social media. And whenever you mention the plan, please use the hashtag #HowWeFight. You can find a hard copy of the plan at thewilsonacademy.org. Remember, hashtag #HowWeFight. Share the post.
Okay.
Hashtag how we fight. I'm a hashtag it in the chat room real quick. How we fight. You guys could find that video by simply searching inside YouTube Dr. Wilson's plan or hashtag and how we fight. We did not want to play the video because of copyright issues. We didn't know if we would get struck for actually showing the YouTube video. So Lanice decided to play it on her phone. That was a great, powerful message. And I have no idea why we don't support Black businesses, why we have not done that. And this right here, all that we're going through, our demand for change, it should start there. And I think that he have laid out an awesome plan. We need to become stronger and more unified as a people, stronger economically. And I think that that was really powerful. It was really powerful. And if we can start anywhere, start supporting your own. Start supporting your own and stop tearing your own businesses down. Stop tearing the businesses down in the Black community and start supporting the Black community. Because we definitely need to be stronger as a people. And so his message to me was extremely powerful. So thank you, Lanice, for finding that video and for sharing it with us. That was amazing. Hashtag how we fight. It does make a lot of sense, Chris. It really makes a lot of sense. Well, you guys, we have to get ready to get out of here. Our time is up. If you guys can, please make sure you hit that like button, support the channel, and share. The comment section will be open for you guys to leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing so far. And just spread the word, spread awareness, bring awareness to this channel right here. Okay, because we'll be doing this weekly. Some weeks we might have to postpone, or we might have to cancel because we are mothers and we do have businesses and things that we're doing behind the scenes. But you know, we're trying to keep it consistent every Wednesday thing. So make sure y'all share this channel, you know, help support this channel. Let everybody know that this is where it's at on Wednesdays between 1 to 3 p.m. Central Time. And so we appreciate you guys for coming in and for joining us and for sharing your thoughts and your opinions about the about the situations and everything that's going on. And we will see you guys next week. Love you guys. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Thank you, Chris. We enjoyed you guys. Thank you guys so much.
You guys stay safe.